plants and trees and fruits and vegetables might be all around us, but only around 1% of the world's plant-based bioactive compounds have ever been studied in depth. That means the worlds of science, health, and medicine have a limited understanding of what the remaining 99% of plants could do for us. But one biotech startup hopes that artificial intelligence might change that.
I think the fact that plants are underused is fantastically intriguing to me. We probably know more about the surface of Mars than we do about the plants around us, and that is just mind-boggling. And Brightseed built our technology to look to nature for answers that we know are there.
San Francisco tech startup Brightseed has big ambitions to collect the world's plant compounds and then use AI to uncover potential health benefits for the human body. According to Brightseed, if you pulled all the world's public and private libraries together today, you'd find records of around 100,000 plant compounds. But in just 4 years, Brightseed has already mapped over 700,000 and are expecting to reach 1 million by the end of this year.
Remember when before Google existed and we had a bunch of other weird search engines? Google came out and said, we want to organize the world's information. And in a similar way, Brightseed is here to index all of the natural compounds inside of plants and all of the bioactives.
With that amount of data, no one human being can really study it and understand it. So what better application than computers and processing data, recognizing patterns that we as humans can't recognize.
The machine behind this data gathering mission is fittingly called Forager.
Forager is an AI. It's fed with a lot of data that we generate in the lab, both chemical, biological data, plant data, human data. What we ask Forager to do is to answer 3 basic questions. So, what is in the plant? The second question is, of those chemicals, which ones are good for our health, what area of health? And then 3, once we find a compound that's beneficial to humans, we ask Forager, what plants can we find it in?
We first asked Forager, is there a compound in nature that can help boost our metabolism? It directed us to the humble spice of black pepper. And in black pepper, which is in my kitchen cabinet, and I'm sure it's in yours too, we found a compound that shows preclinically that it can help the liver boost its ability to process fat. And so it keeps us metabolically healthy for longer.
That's a pretty good tip. And using their AI system, they also identified 80 more plant species containing that same compound.
The ultimate vision is that we can find the keys to longevity. There are 350,000 plant species in the world. Imagine if we were to unlock all of their secrets. Then we would know what is the menu for very long, very happy lives.
Brightseed's information could lead to a prosperous future for both humans and plants. But for that to happen, plants need to prosper. And that's where bees come in. Up to $577 billion in annual global crops are at risk due to pollinator loss. Wild bee populations in 2015 had dropped by 25% since the 90s. Now, the World Bee Project is using AI to try and fill that gap.
In order to find solutions, we have to understand what's going on. And the reasons for bee and pollinator declines vary from region to region. The World Bee Project is a community interest company, and we are using artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things to monitor honeybees and eventually wild bee populations around the world.
George Clouston is one of the project's experts in the UK, applying sensor technology to his hives to gather vital data on the life patterns and pollination cycles of bees. Each hive has 2 sensors attached to it, one collecting data on the temperature, humidity, and acoustics, and another recording the traffic from foraging missions.
The sensors and the data they provide will really help us manage bees for pollination much better. So we have a better understanding of the health and behaviour of the bees, and then we can actually, if we provide the right number of bees and we've got the right quality of bees at the right time, That actually means there's better pollination of the crop, which in turn provides better yields.
The sensors record data from the hive and feed it to George's laptop for analysis from the global AI network.
So here we can see this colony's up to 1 million foraging trips over a few weeks.
The opportunity to help bees is also an opportunity to help the millions of smallholder farmers around the world who rely on bees to maximize their crops. And with 50,000 intelligent hives already a part of the network, the more information AI can provide.
We are helping farmers to ecologically intensify their farming methods. And that just quite simply means that on the one hand, the farmers have access to technology and to opportunities they are generally totally deprived of and denied. And secondly, within a couple of seasons, they can actually see the results. They can see the increase in crop yields, and consequently, they can see the benefits for themselves because their incomes improve. All these things are interlinked. Pollination, conservation of pollinator and wildlife species, our own futures, our own planet. We are entirely dependent on bees and pollinators.
Artificial intelligence will permanently transform our world. But how that transformation unfolds depends entirely on us. It's a future that's still decades away. But even as we experiment with AI now, we're already getting a glimpse of the opportunity we could have in store.